Welcome to today's last presentation, The Mediterranean Planet and Gombessa Expeditions with Laurent Ballesta. That's okay. Thanks. It is hard to impress my colleagues at National Geographic. It isn't that we don't look at amazing photographs all the time. Rather, we expect to be amazed. That is the bar. So it's no exaggeration to tell you that in 2016, when I received a package of underwater photographs of Antarctica from Laurent, I was astonished. And when I started to show the edit around the halls, you could watch jaws drop. It had been a long time since we had been collectively gobsmacked. As David Duboulet says, Laurent goes to the edge of the known ocean world. He takes the advanced craftsmanship, discipline, and art of photography there. He returns with images that astound. But it is more than simply craftsmanship or photography that informs Laurent's work. Consider these story headlines. Deepest dive under Antarctica reveals a shockingly vibrant world. He wanted to photograph a shark feeding frenzy. It took 3,000 dive hours to do. They spent 28 days under the sea and found another Earth. For Laurent, it is a drive to push the limits on technology, exploration, and our understanding of what lies below the thin edge of diveability. He is not a cowboy. Every project that he undertakes requires years of research and preparation. He wrote in National Geographic about his experience in Antarctica, describing it this way: "You have to be sure of your desire before you go. You cannot go half-heartedly. You cannot feign your passion. The demands are too great, and the experience so unforgettable." And of course, the images that he made there were unprecedented. Or consider the shark feeding frenzy that he documented at Fakaraba Atoll. His motivation was to observe marine life uninterrupted. To achieve this, he created a dive protocol that allowed him to spend a full 24 hours in the water at a depth of 65 feet, while limiting the amount of time it takes to decompress from 20 hours to just 6, the first dive of its kind. And let me repeat, that was 24 hours underwater surrounded by sharks. But this is peanuts compared to his last adventure. During the summer of 2019, Laurent and his team spent 28 straight days living in a pressurized habitat. Swimming at depth all day, cold and cramped all night. The trade-off was the ability to explore at depth without the limits of traditional scuba. I will let Laurent get into the details, but it was a physical, psychological, and photographic achievement. Laurent has produced 13 books and is the co-founder of the Andromeda Oceanology and the leader of Gombessa Expeditions. It is safe to say that he and his team live up to the 3 values of the organization: scientific mystery, a diving challenge, and the promise of unprecedented images inform all that the team pursues. Most recently, he was a recipient of the Prince of Monaco Award, and he is the current Wildlife Photographer of the Year, the first French photographer to ever take the top honor. Photographer Brian Scarry says, "Laurent's work is unique and goes deep," Brian's pun intended, "into marine wildlife behavior, going to great lengths to produce images that have not been seen before. And the photos he produces are not only often showing us new things, but they are beautiful and elegant. These qualities draw people in and make them appreciate the ocean and create a desire to know more. His dedication and talents are a wonderful gift that help us see the ocean in a new way." And as Laurent says, "Wildlife is without mercy, but wildlife is also without hate. Few have ever shown us the choreography and the beauty of the unknown ocean with such powerful clarity, and few have ever astonished me in the same way." Please welcome Laurent Ballesta to the stage.
now it's... Wow. I'm very happy to be there, and it's easier to make deep dive than talk in English for me, first thing. Sorry for that. So I'm going to compensate my bad English by a lot of images, so you're going to forget my voice. I started diving as a kid in Mediterranean Sea, the French coast, but not the famous French Riviera, the other coast, the cheap one, the poor one. A not easy place to dive because the sea is always rough and water is not very clear, but can offer kind of magic moment. And that was also the perfect school to learn diving, to sort out the biodiversity in this poor place, and to try to highlight the best I could. So that was the perfect school. And even if, okay, I admit my diving place wasn't always welcoming. But it doesn't matter. For the young marine biologist I was, as long as encounters was possible, I was happy. As long as I could watch animals and wildlife behaviors, predation, reproduction, it was enough for me. No, I didn't need to travel. But the playtime of a kid became my job. And 30 years later, my last expedition was also about wildlife predation and reproduction here in Fakarava Atoll in French Polynesia. Over there, I made a whole dream come true, as said Cathy. I did a 24-hour dive at 24 meters deep. Just here in this little channel in front of the big ocean, the big Pacific Ocean, in a very special moment of the year, in a moment where I knew that I will be eye to eye with groupers, a lot of groupers who aggregate just once a year, thousands of them, and that's why I choose this place and this moment. We count them with a photo protocol, 18,000, world record for this species, and they spend their time to fight, provoking each other, sometimes having to stay like that stick. It's not a kiss, huh? 24 hours with them, watching them, acting, behavior from the morning to the evening until the D-Day. The day the female are like that, with this huge belly ready to explode. And at this time, the male changed the color. They wear the gray suit of serious business, and after a few hours they push the female to spawn. But couples wait one whole year for a split second of intimacy. Then, just before opportunist male reach the couple and turn this little love story into a messy orgy. Nothing more than 30 minutes a year for a split second. And after 30 minutes, the clear water turned white because of so many eggs in the water. The day before, 18,000 of them. The day after, no one anymore. See you next year. So that's what we did also. See you next year. We came back during 5 years to this place. More and more friends came with me to help me, and mainly for night dive we came, because during the 24-hour dive, I thought I was there just for the groupers, but we discovered an unbelievable heaven by night. Suddenly, we saw that it was maybe the biggest aggregation of gray reef shark ever seen. We count them also with a video protocol, 700 of gray reef shark, the highest density ever seen before. and their behavior completely changed at night. The behavior and even the shape of their body, the skin changed. The jaw are always ready to go out. And the first year, to be honest, we didn't dare to go close to them. We stand back, ready, we stand back above them. When we saw them breaking the coral to flush out some fish from the reef, when we see them biting each other, that was very impressive, of course. That was new for us and new for everybody. And you're going to see, yeah, no sound. Et on s'est aperçu que nous n'étions pas des cibles, nous étions juste des obstacles. Oh! That really happened. They cut the line. And what I was saying in French, it was a mix of bad words, and also that I said that we realized that we were not targets for the shark. We were just obstacles on their hunt. And so after a few dives and even a few years, we were closer and closer, and we start to see that, oh, something happened here in the middle of the pack. What we understood very quick in the very first years is that shark alone fail. Small fish, maybe they look weak, but they are so fast, faster than the sharks. So shark tried, but failed. When they try alone, at least. But just 3 of them, and the prey start to have some troubles. And if they surround the prey disappears in a split second. The only one solution is to hide. Keep hide. Or at least to not move. But if you move, few sharks circle the prey immediately, then hundreds run and jump on the prey. No more solution for this grouper. We figure out that there is really an efficient cooperation, but cooperation stops as soon as the prey is caught. Then it's just competition, and they tear apart the prey. So once the prey is caught, the lucky shark tries to escape from the pack, and all the pack pushes the lucky one. And the best strategy seems to be a balance of cooperation and individualism. But for sure, even the strong and massive moray eel can resist to the pack. A lonesome grey reef shark doesn't dare to attack such a big moray. The pack does. To make all this photo, it asks first to feel confident in the middle of the pack, but moreover, to find a way to light the night. To light the night as if it was a moonlight, something tiny, something pure. But the very first secret of these photos is that there is no secret, just a lot of time. My friend and I, we spent 3,000 hours doing every night the same dive. Sometimes adventure is just a question of discipline and routine. That was Gombessa number 4 and Gombessa number 2 expeditions. But Gombessa, it's more than just the name of an expedition. Gombessa first is a fish. Gombessa is the local name for the coelacanth. The coelacanth is considered today as the greatest zoological discovery of the 20th century. But the coelacanth story starts in the middle of the 19th century, but not as a fish, but as a fossil. Because this fish was supposed to be extinct 65 million years ago. It's not like, for example, the mammoth. The mammoth, it was 20,000 years ago. It was yesterday. We talk about 65 million years ago with the dinosaur. And moreover, this fossil was a key in the evolution because it's part of the family who went out of the water 370 million years ago and give the first reptile, the first amphibian, reptile, and mammals, and human being at the end. And it was supposed to be extinct 65 million years ago until one specimen was caught in a trail net in 1938 in the very wild and rough east coast of South Africa, where 2 divers died trying this dive 20 years ago, where even Peter Tim, the first diver who find the place, died in 2014. The conditions are very difficult to dive there. For me, it took 10 years to dreaming, thinking, and training for this project, not just to go diving, but to be able to make a good job down there. So 10 years with this idea in my mind, and only 1 minute 30 seconds to pass from here to here, 120 meters. First day, first dive, first second at the bottom, Gombessa, the coelacanth, was there. The difficult thing was not to find the animal, it was just to reach his universe. And what a universe, like another planet. To figure out, to have an idea of what it is, 120 meters, you should have another 4 screen above this one. And what a fish, more than 2 meters long, 100 kilo. And it was like waiting for us for millions of years along the huge wall of the canyon. And it was easy to come close to him, to watch all his incredible face, its spiny fins, its huge and thick scales from a time where there is dinosaur underwater, and that was quite cool to have this kind of big shell on the skin. But what we did when we were, that was also science. And in order to modelize in 3D the movement of these fins, we used this strange instrument guided by 2 lizards in order to modelize in 3D the movement of his fins, because his fins are the ancestor of our legs and arms. Deep inside, you can find what is a tibia, a femur. All our bones are already there inside these fins. Gombessa is a kind of star, and like all stars, he lets you only very short interview. And for example, my friend stayed 4 minutes more than me this day. That was the first day. We didn't know it will be again. So he stayed 4 minutes more than me. It cost to him 1 hour more deco. We spent some time more than 30 minutes at the bottom, and it means 5 hours of ascent, 5 hours to deco. And that's strange because you are just 5 meters from the surface, but actually you are 5 hours from the surface. But no regrets. We knew why we did this long dive. And even if it was boring and you are a bit like in a desert, there is nothing to see, even if you attract small ones. The problem is that when you attract small ones, you attract the big one as well. Closer and closer, during hours and hours of non-negotiable deco stop. And you see that it can be angry when you see what we did to him. So yes, even if you see the shark before, we can say that after this dive, we felt a little bit like heroes. And I could say, the right stuff, like in the movie. At least before the dive, because after the dive, it was a little bit less glorious. Too long dive, so long dive, so long, so stressful, not always successful. Pressure is big down there. But we knew why we did it. It was for a mythic encounter with a living legend, was a face-to-face with a myth. And it was not even sad when this adventure ended, because it was like a dream project for me, a dream of a marine biologist student, a dream of a diver, a dream of a photographer. But it was not sad because I deeply feel inside me that it was just a beginning. The beginning of the Gombessa expedition. That was the first Gombessa. And that we will continue to go down and look around in this poorly known twilight zone, twilight ecosystem all over the world. So we did. We start by the most difficult, just after that, deep dives in Antarctica. The coldest conditions, of course, but the warmest local people welcoming. And it was early October. As I said, the coldest waters, minus 1.8 degrees Celsius. But because of that, so clear, so clear. After 6 months in the darkness, no light means no plankton, no particle, pure water. And maybe the main issue is that there is another big issue before the cold, is just how to cross the sea surface. Not so easy to find a safe and practical entrance. And look at this newborn of a Weddell Sea. It looks innocent and fragile, but trust me, it's much easier for him than for me. And look at him, he's probably thinking I can see him. And they're a bit shy, a bit curious, maybe more confident when he's with his mother, but they're not scared. There is not a lot of place in the world where the wildlife is not scared by human. Antarctica is the one. They are not scared as they can be in Arctic because they don't know what is a hunter here in Antarctica. It's not in their DNA. Seals were our best guide to find a safe entrance through the ice floe. To follow them was the safest way in this dangerous labyrinth, a colorful labyrinth, keeping one eye on the electric lifeline and the other eye on our trustable guide. Going down, find a way between ice and rock to reach the bottom. And what a bottom! The secret colors of the white continent. And the deepest you go, the richest it is. An amazing biodiversity. Already 9,000 species described. Some are very familiar and looks like tropical species, and others totally strange, like the giant pantopod with its spider-like legs, losing its vital organs because the body is too small. The mimic flat isopod crab in sandy bottom, or the scary loves of this kind of giant aliens. Much more cute, the tiny blue-blooded octopus. So many species, most of them never photographed before, never photographed alive, like the Sir Chuckleton dragonfish, maybe as a tribute to for sure, as a tribute of the famous English explorer, maybe because of the little goatee on his mouth, or this other one, the Jacques Cousteau dragonfish, because of the red helmet, of course. Actually, I choose the name myself because no one was able to tell me the name of this fish. I mean, it's not only isolated species. Look around this one. It's full of creatures. There is a high diversity of species, but above that, there is a high diversity of ecosystems themselves. Here, trust me, this photo doesn't come from tropical place, but from deep depths of Antarctica. And so different at each depth we succeed to reach until this kind of forest of sea squirts, at 125 meter deep, our deepest, and the deepest maybe dive ever made in Antarctica. Wonderful for the eyes, for sure, and terrible for the rest of the body. Honestly, I never been such in a hurry to go up, to still following the electric lifeline. But even if it's cold, you have to wait. We had to wait for 4 hours under the ice roof to respect the deco stop. Fortunately, to forget the cold, we had still to do, still to photograph. The mimic ice anemone, first still photography of this species described very recently, able to dig a hole into the very hard ice despite its soft body. And that's still a mystery. How does it do? Beauty and mystery help us to forget how painful it was, and let me the opportunity to make another whole dream come true: the hidden face of a whole iceberg. It's 163 photos stitched together as a panoramic photo for this unforgettable moment shared with my 3 tiny friends around this kind of ice monster face. Here we were. It asked me 7 months to recover my toes after this expedition. So painful, but so exciting, so much to discover. And moreover, all these experiences, long dive, deep dive, cold dive, I didn't know that it will be the best training for our last expedition, to success to be here. 140 meters down, 400 feet. And we are not in Antarctica anymore, we are in Mediterranean Sea, along the French Riviera. And what you see here is the underwater part of the Alps mountain, the Alp mountains. And we were here for 5 hours this day. 5 hours, if you remind what I tell you, 5 hours such deep means a few days of decompressions. So it's not possible. So the only solution was to reach a bell, go inside and close the door, and bring back, very important to close the door, and then, only then, go up, reach the surface in just a couple of minutes, no deco issue because the pressure is the same at the bottom inside the bell, and connect the bell to a living chamber where the pressure is the same than the bottom. And we live there, time to rest, to eat. There is a chamber to live, a chamber to take a shower. It's also the place we wear our suit. And then a kind of elevator to reach the bottom from the surface where we were stuck inside. So the deep station is on a floating barge pulled by a trail boat. And the 1st of July 2019, we left from Marseille for 28 days along the French Riviera. As you can see on our happy faces, the atmosphere inside was not so exciting. It was even very boring. We can only wait between dives and sleep a lot. Wait to have the station at the perfect position, just on top of the places we want to explore. So we just jump in our dry suit, go in the bell, the elevator, and go down along the cable. And here it's so tiny that we can just wear our dry suit, nothing else. All our equipment and are here in this red basket below the bell. And when you arrive at the exploration depths, the door opens itself because the pressure inside and outside are the same. And you just have to go out, put your gear on, and then, theoretically, you are free to go. Be ready, a bit nervous, to leave the bell and free to explore huge and pristine deep places. But free doesn't mean light. We are quite with a lot of equipment. We're pretty heavy down there, a lot of equipment. So why such an expedition? Why such risk? Because it was to do it, because there are amazing ecosystem deep here called Coraligenus Reef, but I prefer to call them coral reef of Mediterranean Sea because first it looks like, and second, it's a bit the same. It's living beings building their ecosystem as coral do. Layer after layer, there is the builder, but there is also the destroyer that crack and dig the others, and the ecosystem needs both of them to create this kind of full of cave place, chaotic reef, very rich in place to hide. These ecosystems, for me, are a kind of natural proof that diversity is a promise of sustainability. You need all of them to create that. And down there, everything all seems new to us. And you can be again as a kid in his garden discovering what is wildlife. You're a kid again when you are in such depth. You are this wrong or true feeling that you're the first, that everything is pristine. And unfortunately, the truth comes to you quite fast. There is some mark, human mark, sometimes a lot of them, sometimes very scary ones. Mediterranean Sea is also that. Of course, I'm not telling that Mediterranean Sea is pure. No, there is a lot of pollution, a lot of waste. So many people for so many millenniums around the Mediterranean Sea. So of course there is mark everywhere sometimes. And yeah, but of course I don't make this job for that. I don't make this 20 years old dream to hijack the saturation techniques from commercial diving to just go and photograph problems. I'm here for the biodiversity of species and biodiversity of the ecosystem themselves. This field of flower-like worms, or this pinnacle of yellow corals, or the white forest of the black corals. And for once, for the first time of my life, deep down, without to be focused on my watch to count every single minute down there. I could spend hours and hours, go in details, go inside the ecosystem, see what's happened down there, or like the hundreds of narwhal shrimps with these their eyes like mirror balls. But most important than their eyes, their antennas that make a kind of networks all the way connected to communicate each other. Once again, finding new species never photographed here, that was easy. The difficult thing was just to reach their universe once again. So then it was easy. The copper code for the first time, the Ferrari Crab, or the fascinating face of this weird bull fish. A lot of strange species, but also very common ones, but with uncommon size. Like this huge lobster. We have forgotten they can reach such a massive size if they are not caught. Or these big John Dories, or these giant eels, or the monkfish, huge. Depths allowed us to watch uncommon behavior also, like the this deep cleaning station that enjoy sunfish. Little fish come and clean the skin from parasite and give it to him, he smile back. Other deep veined squid only seen in deep water and at night, and here for the first time mating. What a privilege to witness their mating, mostly when you know that they mate only once in their life and die just after. Lot of privilege to be there. Lot of privilege means also a lot of issue. Did we push our limits, as it's easy to say? I would prefer that we never push our limits. We discover our limits. And it was less a question of limits than a question of hard contrast to sustain. The suffocating heat in the enclosure of steel, and on the other hand, the highly penetrating cold because of the frozen helium we must breathe. Claustrophobia inside, not enough space, and vertigo outside, too much space. Scared to lose the way back to the tiny yellow bell. Mind-numbing inaction within, and dangerous feeling of full permission outside. Like here in front of this 2,200 years old wreck. And yeah, paranoid. We were even paranoid inside, just to be under the exclusive control of the surface team, and completely in kind of ecstasy outside to feel limitless in our exploration. Another strange contrast is the feeling of deep loneliness on one side, but on the other side, the solidarity of a whole team which allow us to live these unforgettable experiences. But the main contrast is between exploration and knowledge. As the more you explore, the more derisory your knowledge seems. What is, for example, the origin of these deep, giant, dark rings that were just discovered offshore of Corsica Island? More than 1,000 of these mysterious dark rings, and still no answer yet. The more you know, the more you actually don't know. But that's not a problem. It's an opportunity. Because I think that there is nothing more inspiring, nothing more exciting than mysteries. And not even beauty. Beauty is a lure. Here below the ice, the most amazing is not the obvious beauty of these colors, but the non-obvious reason of such colors. Why such colors? The mechanism, the algae, the bacterians. That's much more impressive than the beauty itself, the mystery. And I'm pretty sure deep inside me, I think that our best images, it's when sometimes, only sometimes, we success to show the mystery hidden behind the beauty. And that could even bring maybe more respect. Because even if wildlife mystery can scare us, it doesn't matter. Fears, unknown behaviors, mysteries, all these things are part of the greatness, are part of the respect that wildlife needs urgently. Here, there is fish giving life, there is shark giving death, but there is nothing that should scare us. We should just be thankful when we are lucky to witness that. So, don't be scared if this impressive wildlife appears, and be scared only if one day it disappears. thank you for your attention. Sorry for my bad English. And thank you also to all my sponsors and partners.